All right, first name is Bill, B-I-L-L. Last name is Dooley, D-O-O-L-E-Y. I'm a lieutenant with the Fresno Police Department. So around 3:30 this afternoon, detectives from the Fresno County Sheriff's Department's Ag Task Force were involved in an investigation nearby the scene where we're at right now. During that investigation, a vehicle fled from the deputies and a pursuit was initiated. That pursuit came northbound Cedar, just south of us. The vehicle lost control and the suspect immediately began shooting at the deputies. What we can say at this time is that the suspect who fired at the deputies is deceased. Because this is a incident that took place here in the city of Fresno, the Fresno Police Department's homicide unit and felony assault unit are on scene, and we will be conducting the investigation. And that's all we have to say at this time. So the vehicle was fleeing from deputies. There was a pursuit that had occurred. The vehicle lost control going northbound Cedar, and when he lost control, that's when you see how he is. Yes, the initial request came from the Fresno County Sheriff's Department. They had the pursuit. They asked for allied agencies to assist, and they had reported, their deputies reported to their dispatch that shots had been fired. And of course, nearby Fresno police officers and CHP officers responded to assist the deputies. So because this is an investigation that involved a shooting, this is going to be closed for several hours. We don't expect Cedar Avenue to be opened up until probably in the early hours. Yes, tomorrow morning. Sorry, yes, not till probably tomorrow morning. The initial pursuit was done by the Fresno County Sheriff's Department. After the shots were fired, that's when they requested assistance from other allied agencies. That's standard procedures. It doesn't matter if we're nearby a school, by a business. Of course, we're going to notify those businesses until we can confirm that everything is safe and secure. So whenever an incident like this occurs within the city of Fresno, we're going to go ahead and conduct that investigation. If roles were reversed, if officers had pursued and end up involved in a shooting that occurred out in the county or in another city, that particular law enforcement agency would have jurisdiction.
Tony Body, T-O-N-Y, B-O-T-T-I, Fresno County Sheriff's Office. So I'm going to stay out of the lane of the investigation. That's up to Fresno Police. But some things to outline here is that this was a very chaotic scene. It happened at 3:30 in the afternoon. Lots of traffic in the area. Our deputies, were basically under attack with this man who was firing toward them. A big concern here was that our deputies were setting up to point their guns in the direction of the suspect, who happened to be on northbound Cedar facing North Avenue. Well, we had a lot of cars coming off the freeway and traveling along North Avenue who were in that line of fire. So that was a big concern at the time. We were working heavily to get CHP and any other partners out here to try and shut down the roads so that we could try and work in a safer environment as possible. The good news is that it did work out. Fortunately, there were no shots fired to where any passing motorists were in harm's way or anything like that. As Lieutenant Dooley alluded to, it's still under investigation if indeed any shots were fired by law enforcement. That's to be determined. But again, it was a great job by everybody collectively to work together to make sure that nobody was hurt. All of our people are going to be going home tonight, so we're very happy anytime we have an outcome like that. In terms of resources, one of the best things we had was the utilization of our drone. We've been using our drones more and more on scenes, things that are active, and this was a prime example. We were able to put our drone directly in line. We were able to put our drone directly to view that suspect's vehicle to monitor him and his movement. That allowed our deputies to be able to determine when it was safe to actually approach the vehicle. And so it's just a huge officer safety factor that we now have in this day and age. And without that, this could have been a lot longer of a process and much more dangerous. So we're very fortunate to have that tool in our toolbox now to help us do our jobs. Well, once they were able to monitor through the drone and see that there was no movement, we were also lucky that we had our SWAT team respond. It was a training day for them. So they had all their equipment. They were able to head out here. So once we monitored it long enough that they determined it was safe to approach, that's when it allowed deputies to move in closer and determine, in fact, that the suspect was deceased. Right, yeah, so it was part of an investigation the Ag Task Force was conducting. And while they were on a nearby property, this vehicle left that area, which caused them to try and make a traffic stop. The suspect refused, and then a short time later, the crash occurred. Totally unknown. Yeah, it just kind of came out of nowhere. Everything was so fast. It was more or less that you're in the area of where we're investigating, let's contact, and before we even had that opportunity, this transpired.